Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. I am Cheguruni and welcome to the science class. So before we start with the topic today, we shall start our lesson with reciting dua. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri wahlul 'uqdatam min lisani yafqahu qawli. Rabbi zidni ilma warzuqni fahma wa sallallahu ala sayyidina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wasallam walhamdulillahi rabbil alamin. Okay, this week's lesson objectives are to identify the main parts of the digestive system and then to describe the primary function of the digestive system and the function of parts of the digestive system. So how we are going to do that is by talking about parts of the digestive system, and then we talk about the functions of parts of the digestive system. But before we continue with this week's topic, we shall recap previous lessons topic that is about the nervous system. Our nervous system is the control center of our body. The nervous system controls everything we do, including breathing, walking, thinking, and feeling. Our nervous system is made up of our brain, our spinal cord, and nerves. If you can see here, we have learned about this. This is our brain. Now there are three parts of our nervous system: brain, spinal cord, and nerves. And this is our brain. And this shows our spinal cord is located in our backbone here, which um, link with our brain over here. It's a continuation from our brain. It's linked to our spinal cord. And then from the spinal cord, we have our nerves. And this is a microscopic view of our nerves. So the function is all our sense organs are connected to our brain by a series of nerves. When we use our sense organ, nerve pass the messages to our brain. Example, nerve messages travel from our eyes to our brain, and then the brain will interpret the messages as picture you see on TV screen. Another example would be nerves messages travel from our hand to our brain. The brain will interpret the messages as hot or dangerous. The brain will send messages to pull our hands away, and this happens very fast. So our reaction is interpreted by our brain. When we touch something, there's a message that relays to your brain through the nerves to your brain, and your brain will interpret the messages, and it will send another message for a reaction. Okay, for today's topic, that is the digestive system. The digestive system, our body gets all the energy it needs to grow and carry out life processes. There's a C here, processes from the food we eat. So our body gets the energy from food. But the question is, how does the food process and give us the energy? In order to get the energy from food, the food need to be broken down into pieces that are small enough to be absorbed into the blood, which means that the food must be very, very, very small so it can absorb into the blood. So how does it happen? The process by which food is broken down and absorbed into the blood is called digestion. So the process is called digestion. When the food is broken down and absorbed into our blood, it is called digestion. Digestion. Digestion of the food we eat is the primary function of the digestive system. So this is the primary function, that is digestion of the food we eat. So what is digestion? It's the process by which food is broken down and absorbed into the blood. Now let's take a look at parts of the digestive system. So in the digestive system, we will learn about 6 parts. We start with mouth, and then gullet, and then stomach, 4 small intestine, 5 large intestine, and 6 rectum. So these 6 we need to learn parts of the digestive system. Now we start with mouth. Teeth in the mouth cut and grind food into smaller pieces. Now one more time, if you check here, the idea is digestion means food is broken down and absorbed into the blood. So the food must be very small to be absorbed into the blood. So the first step is using our teeth in the mouth, cut and grind food into smaller pieces. That's the first step. And then a digestive juice called saliva. Our saliva, air liur dalam bahasa Melayu, or in English it is called saliva, also breaks down food. And then the tongue helps to push the food into the gullet. Now, our saliva, air liur, in our mouth is also function as to break down the food that we eat. Example, the rice. Rice that we eat, nasi, that we eat when we put in our mouth, and the rice will covered in saliva. Slowly, the rice will change into sugar. Ia pecah jadi gula. It change into sugar. It will break down into sugar. That is one example. After that, after eating and biting down the food, cutting down the food into smaller pieces, and the tongue will push the food into the gullet, like in this picture. So continue from the mouth would be the gullet. Muscles in the wall of the gullet, this, push the food into the stomach. Now let me tell you, gullet also called as, known as esophagus or food pipe. Gullet is in British. Esophagus would be in American English, or also known as food pipe. So that's the same. Those 3 words means the same thing. Muscle, it means this, which means that muscles in the wall of the gullet push the food into the stomach. Okay, the function of gullet. There's a muscle here, and it will help us to push the food down to our stomach. Okay, now look here. Just as a note, sorry, gullet also called esophagus or food pipe. Okay, now the third part of digestive system is the stomach. Stomach is contains the digestive juices. Inside the stomach, there are digestive juices in the stomach. Further break down the food into a soupy liquid. So the food that we eat, that we chew, that we cut with our teeth and mix with saliva will fall down from the gullet, this one, and then into the stomach. And there are juices here. like digestive juices, like acids, and it will further break down the food into soupy liquid, like soup, liquid that the texture is like soup. And then what happened after that is the food in the stomach, this is the stomach, will move to the small intestine, usus kecil. So in the small intestine, more digestive juices further break down food into substances which the body can absorb. So the first step is the mouth. We have saliva, ileum, and then went down into the stomach. And in the stomach there are juices, there are names, but you don't need to learn the name. And it will turn into soupy liquid, and then it will go down here. And there are another kind of digestive juices. There are names, but you don't need to learn about it. And the juices will further break down the food into substances that our body can absorb. Digestion is completed in the small intestine. So when the food is here, the process of breaking down the food or digestion is completed. After this, no more breaking down. The food cannot get smaller than this after this process in here. Okay, and then it moves to the larger intestine. If you see this picture, small intestine, and it move over here, it move into here. Here, look here, it will move into the larger intestine. Food that cannot be digested goes to the large intestine. The large intestine removes most of the water from the undigested food. Okay, not all food can be digested, some cannot. Example like parts of a vegetable, it cannot be digested, or maybe corn, it cannot be digested properly, so it will pass through the large intestine here. And then what happened? Water will be removed. Remove most of the water from the food that cannot be digested will be removed or absorbed here. And then what happened after this? Six, rectum. So this part is called rectum. Undigested food moves from the large intestine. From here it move and move here in the rectum and stored as waste. The waste get passed out through an opening called the anus. So here is where our feces are stored, and it will pass out. Air besar, buang air besar here. So here stored undigested food will go here, water is absorbed, and it will stored here and pass out over here, anus, this one. Okay, now if you can see here in this picture examples of how food move from the mouth into our large intestine to the rectum. If you can see here, wait, it's still moving here. Okay, we start with here from the mouth to the stomach, gullet, stomach, small intestine, and then go out to large intestine here. Small intestine, large intestine, and to the rectum over here and pass out. One more time. The food from that burger go from the stomach to the small intestine and go out, pass through the large intestine and finish. So here is how food are processed in our body. So digestion happen here in the mouth, and then digestion or food breakdown happen in the stomach and also in the smaller intestine and finish. Normal breakdown and waste would go here, and to the rectum here. Okay, one more time. Food are digested in the mouth. We bite, we chew, we mix with saliva, and then go down from through the gullet into the stomach. Juices will digest more of the food here, and then there are more digestive juices here which break down the food into more smaller pieces into a substance and absorb in the body, and then undigested food will pass through large intestine and go out into the rectum, go out from the anus. So worksheet. Now we have done the lesson in digestive system. You can do your Microsoft Forms. I have provided worksheet. You can also read the notes given through the links provided. So let's recap today's lesson. Primary function of digestive system is the digestion of food. Digestion means a process which food is broken down and absorbed into the blood or body. Okay, number three, there are six parts of a digestive system, that is mouth, gullet, stomach, small intestine, large intestine, and rectum. So the function is, let me explain one more time. Mouth will bite and cut the food into smaller pieces, and then saliva will break down the food, and then our tongue will push the food into the gullet, and the food will pass through the gullet, go into the stomach. Digestive juices from the stomach will break down the food even more into a soupy liquid, and then it will enter the small intestine, which mix with more digestive juices, and it will break down into substances. And then the digestion process of food is broken down, finish in the small intestine, completed. But then there are undigested food. The undigested food will go through the large intestine and stored as waste in the rectum and pass out from our body through the anus. Okay, excellent. I hope you understand this lesson, this week's lesson. You may like, subscribe, and share with your family and friends. Thank you for watching my video. Until next time, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.